So this is the Comics Rock Show. We're gonna go in. So not only is there a paid area, but we're gonna go in and up and see what's going on. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Reluctant Gringo here, part 2 with Toy Market in Mexico City. So please excuse the audio. I decided to do a narration. The audio that we captured there, too much noise, too loud, too much echo, and too much copyrighted music. There's no way YouTube would let me put that audio on. So I decided to put a little track down here and talk about it. So this is the area where you have to pay 5 pesos to get in. The outside version here is a little small. It's got a few booths, but really want to just kind of span over it and see. It's packed. It's got a lot of offerings, a lot of Star Wars, a lot of loose figures, some wrestling, some anime, definitely some One Piece stuff that you see in there. And then next to this booth, I don't show it, but there's, Kiss. If you're a Kiss fan, there's a whole booth right next to this one about Kiss stuff. So there you go. Stopped here, talked to this gentleman, this vendor here. There's the Jason Lives There, part 6. That Jason caught my eye. It was my favorite Jason, my favorite Friday. But really, these figures really caught my eye. I really love them. Can't wait to start collecting them. Pennywise there, you see some Trick or Treat. You see Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Gremlins. You gotta love the Gremlins. What a funny movie. Great movie there. Crooked Man, you gotta love that Creep Show, old Stephen King, Alf. If you're an Alf fan, Pennywise again. What really caught my eye was if you're a Back to the Future fan, I'd never seen these. You get some Biff, you get some Marty McFly, his son from Part 2, but I'd never seen those before. So definitely there's a lot more out there than I knew of. So if you're a Back to the Future fan and you want to collect those figures, there you go. But then we made our way inside, and as you'll see, I was really blown away. The booths with how big they were, how packed they were, how much merchandise they had. It was really, to me, it really felt like walking onto the sales floor of like a small Comic-Con somewhere. Maybe not San Diego or New York or anything like that, the Jacob Javits Center, but definitely walking into a real good-looking con there. The Austin Powers had to point this out. I guess they're not allowed to call him Fat Bastard. They have to call him Fat Man because you can't really put Fat Bastard on a toy. So there you go. I thought that was funny. Star Wars everywhere. Every generational release, you're going to find that Power of the Force, Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones. Get the retros. Really cool to see. But coming up, we see this manga here. But after we see this manga, so just, there's anime there too for you. We're going to see this booth. This gentleman, he has the artists that actually make the masks for the luchas in Mexico City. They make them for him, so he puts them on display. Then he has the luchadors himself. He showed me the pictures. They come to his house, they sign the mask, they sign the boots, so he puts them on display, he puts them for sale, thousands and thousands of pesos. God, yes, I would love to have one of these, but I couldn't justify, spending that much money right now on an authentic mask that's ready to be worn in the ring and ready to be worn by a luchador. Just fell in love. Now, this gentleman was really cool, and he showed us the other thing he makes. He's really into the Aztec religion and the gods, so he makes these figures here up on top. He sells them in Mexico and Japan only. He mails them off to Japan, but Representative Quetzalcoatl. You got Tlaloc there, the blue one. Again, the second most powerful god in the Aztec religion. He's a god of rain and water. Definitely my favorite. I got a little ring of his that I wear sometimes. Definitely very cool. Took a shot at this Batman. I used to own it. One of the first things I bought 25 years ago. Of course, one of the first things I sold before coming to Mexico. So sort of like, hi, it was nice to see. This booth, really cool. I did see a lot of Transformers out there. So for those of you who want Transformers, a lot of stuff Transformers out there. But first, these loose figures. Now, I always seem to gloss over the loose figures. My wife always reminds me, hey, there's little treasures in here. It might be something you can find, polish up. It's nice. It's good to go. Great for display. And she's right. So don't discount those loose figures. But here, Transformers, definitely Starscream, Ultra Magnus. I'm a Shockwave and a Soundwave kind of guy, but definitely Starscream. My kids would love to have Starscream. That's their favorite. They love Transformers. And you get stuff from the United States. You got stuff from Japan. You got a lot of Turtles that we saw. Definitely because of the movie coming out, or that did come out. So a lot of Turtle merchandise. Mazinger Z, that my wife geeked out about, something she used to watch when she was a kid in Mexico City. But that Batman Beyond, that black box there, that Batman Beyond really caught my eye. I really wanted to see what was inside that. So I did ask them to bring it down. They did tell me it was around 4,500 pesos, so I wasn't going to buy it, but you got Blythe, you got Shriek, you got Batman Beyond, Batwoman, you got some trading cards there, high gloss. Then you got futuristic Batman here. Again, I'm not too familiar with the legend and lore of Batman Beyond, but apparently you can flip his head around and he's got the Joker's face on the back of his skull there. So I thought that was kind of cool. So again, more booths you're going to see. They had t-shirts, they had trading cards, they had everything that you could probably think that a con would have. Lots of Marvel. Really impressed with the amount of Marvel that they had. So if you're a Marvel collector, definitely there's a lot here for you to see and to choose from and to pick through and see what can complete your collection. But definitely a lot of Marvel, both current and sort of, you know, early 2000s, mid 2000s. So they had a really good selection. Legos, Playmobil, you're going to find that at this toy market as well. So if you're into the Legos, you're going to find boxed and unboxed sets. And I want to take a second here. What I learned through my translator, which is my wife, is that this place inside is an old movie theater that went out of business because of COVID. You know, really sad. They used to, you know, show a lot of classic movies and things like that. And so the owner decided, well, I don't want to lose my building because it's downtown Mexico City. It's a great location. What can I do? He turned it into this market. So he invites these vendors and they paid and they set up their booths. And it's a great place because he loves pop culture and he loves animation. And he loves sci-fi. So what a great way to get the community to still connect and come down and have a way of everybody just getting together after COVID. I think it's just a wonderful idea. And really couldn't enjoy it more. This booth we had to stop at. It was one of the larger booths. I don't think the camera really does it justice how big it is and how packed with merchandise it is. I mean, I'm talking lots of Star Wars, lots of horror movie stuff, and then some stuff I hadn't seen. You know, some Ghostbuster stuff we'll see in a second. So even you know, we saw the Frankenstein monster. There's even a James Cameron Abyss figure there. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, so if you're a James Cameron fan, if you haven't seen The Abyss, you know, yes, it was tough to film that movie, but it's a pretty decent movie. Still holds up. There you go, Venkman and Winston. So I love those guys, love those characters. Probably one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Classic He-Man or retro He-Man in a box, so definitely want to take a look at that. Super Shredder. I want to open this because a lot of stuff has plastic on it, saran wrap. Now they do that themselves. These guys, they care about the toys and they care about you getting the best thing to display. So they protect it. So they'll put extra saran wrap or shrink wrap on things that you'll see, especially protecting it from the sun, especially being outside in Mexico City if you're not inside. So they love the toys. That's great about these vendors. They love the merchandise as much as you do when you're purchasing it. Just a really good time hanging. I think we hung out at this booth for about a half hour, even though I don't show all the half hour. A lot more Star Wars. You get the retro reissues. You got the Black Series, Admiral Akbar and Lobot. Definitely had to show those two guys. Two minor characters that I kind of fell in love with from Empire and Return of the Jedi. It is Dengar, one of my favorite bounty hunters. If you've not read Kevin J. Anderson's Tales of the Bounty Hunter, that collection of short stories came out about probably 25 years ago. It's a great collection of short stories about, you know, what happened to the other bounty hunters after they all got their orders from Darth Vader. There's some metallic Black Series up there. I've never seen those before, so I figured I'd take a shot at those. But what really caught my eye lower down here is this Superman 85th anniversary gold label Todd McFarlane box. And I'm like, what is this? I've never seen it before. Going for 1,600 pesos. There's nothing really on the back to look at, so I didn't really pick it up. I kind of just left it kind of buried under everything. I just didn't want to make too much of a mess there. But you got a Spider-Man controller there. But that gold label, keep that in mind because that's going to come in handy later on in this video. But again, I think we spent a half hour here. I didn't show all the footage. Just the people were so cool to talk to. The vendors were so cool to talk to. And they really enjoyed being there. And they just gave us the whole lowdown and history of this whole market. Had to stop here. Never seen these G.I. Joes before. If you have, please let me know. But you got Rock and Roll Bazooka, Dusty. Really cool packaging. I really thought they were great. There's Torpedo. There's Copperhead. I think Arctic Cat is next. And then last but not least, one of my favorites, Shipwreck. I love Shipwreck from the cartoon. He was a dick. He was a lovable dick, but he was a dick. And it's just kind of funny. I do take down Rock and Roll, and I do take a look at him here coming up. What I learned is that well, first of all, these figures, they're pretty lightweight, so not heavy. The packaging, I think, is great. And I just think the idea of these are just pretty cool. I thought the presentation I thought was great. Definitely something I could see myself getting back into and collecting. Rock and Roll, one of the originals that came out back in the 80s. There he is in the back. Comes with all his equipment, and so they really went all out and made sure that he had all his accessories. So very cool. Now what I learned is that In Mexico, they get toys earlier than the United States. All right, that's just plain and simple. So if you haven't seen these in the US, they're coming. Zoom in on some of the more Ghostbusters. Again, I love the Ghostbusters, but right above them, Beta Ray Bill. Gotta love Beta Ray Bill. Can't wait to see if they use him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Been kind of teased here and there, but can't wait. But again, yes, Mexico gets toys faster than the United States. Well, it's the port of entry, so they get them stuff sometimes months before. Again, more Black Series. Again, blown away with the amount of Black Series. If you're into Black Series, you can come down with some money and walk away with a ton of figures. I mean, a ton of figures. If you're looking to complete your collection or just add to your collection, come on down to Mexico City and know that your Saturday is going to be spent at this toy market. Another booth here, Hot Wheels, but then a lot of He-Man, a lot of Masters of the Universe. Really cool to see that. Again, something else from my childhood I collected. But what really caught my eye, again, speaking of toys that they get before the United States, I had not seen these in the US. Again, comment if you think I'm wrong or if I am wrong. But these turtles I thought were really cool. Specialty packaging. Here's Leonardo. He had Raphael. He did not have Donatello. Now these are 2,000 pesos each, so a little expensive. But if they had Donatello, I might have bought him for 2,000. So I do. He's definitely my favorite. So, and again, the G.I. Joes you saw earlier, that booth was asking me $900 per figure. Now again, that's probably the American price. I keep going in with my American accent and my English, and they're like, first I look American. Instead of letting my wife lead, there are Mexican and American prices. Hey, it's just the way it is. Deal with it. I should let my wife, because I let her lead here with the talking. I did some videoing in this booth, and I started looking at all the figures and said, wow, a lot of Spider-Man. But then I noticed more of those G.I. Joes down here, and we got the Crimson Bat. I think Flint and Falcon barbecue right there. Now I let her lead, and they gave a price of 600 pesos. So, 33% off, 30%, whatever. Definitely, I did say, do you have any more? Because if they had Cobra Commander, if they had Destro, silver-headed Destro, not golden-headed Destro, or if they had Zartan. If they had Zartan and they said 2,000 pesos, I'm probably paying the 2,000. I love Zartan, one of my favorites of all time, of any IP, any character in the IP. Love Zartan. But these are the only 3 that they had. And again, if you've seen those in the United States, let me know. I haven't. So it's really cool to see some of this stuff. And, with this booth, again, everybody really friendly and welcoming and willing to talk. This booth here, coming up, a lot of loose figures. Again, love going through the loose figures. If you see, let me know in the comments. What do you see? Do you see something you used to have, something you used to love? Or do you see something that you've never seen before? You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. And let me know, because there is just so many loose figures, to catalog all of them on all the tables. And even in part 3, you're going to see even more. It's just, I'd be there for weeks. More He-Man. There's my guy Merman. There's Manny Faces. All the villains. There's Hordak. Now I had Hordak. I remember I ruined so many carpets and rugs with Hordak and his play set with the slime where it drops down out of the skull there. Yeah, I made a mess, but man, what fun it was. They got a bunch of Battle Cats. More loose figures. Some more vintage Star Wars you'll see. Again, there's probably the first figure I ever bought for Star Wars. I remember when they finally hit the shelves after the early bird special and all that. I wanted R2-D2 so bad, couldn't get R2-D2. So I settled for R5-D4. He's been sort of a special place in my heart ever since. Vintage Star Wars, you'll see them right there. You will find them. There's the Rancor Keeper and then another member of Jabba's Palace Guards there. You can negotiate, depending on what they're asking for, depending on the condition. But you will see those vintage carded Star Wars. Very cool to see that stuff. I thought this was awesome. Probably my favorite panel from my favorite comic book, The Killing Joke, my favorite graphic novel, is the Joker there when he finally, loses his mind after being in the chemicals, being dumped out as the Red Hood. So awesome. Had to take that King Kong right there, just because the night before I had watched King Kong 1975. What a bad movie. Good bad, but still bad. Horrible special effects. But if you want to laugh and have a good time at a B movie, there you go, starring Jeff Bridges. All right. Next booth, The Last of Us. Some Superman, Doomsday. We got some Jurassic Park, if you're into Jurassic Park, if that's your thing, if that's the IP. But then, remember the 85 Superman? Well, here's another Todd McFarlane gold label Superman. This one's Superman Unchained. And then next to it, I start to see Jon Stewart. gold label, Todd McFarlane. And then there's a Barry Allen Flash, Todd McFarlane, gold label. Now, they don't show what these characters look like on the back. I will pick up the backs and you'll see Superman in his Unchained Armor. You'll see John Stewart with the Construct. Of course, love the Lanterns ever since Blackest Night. Love that series. If you haven't read that series, read that series. What a great series. The Flash, he's black and white with gold trim. So you'll see there. But I start to pick them up, but definitely hadn't seen these before. Again, I'm not sure if they're in the United States yet or if they just hit Mexico. They're ranging in prices between $1,600, $2,000. There's one person outside wanted to say $2,500. You got to learn to negotiate there. And pardon the glare, a lot of fluorescent lights there. You see my bald head in the picture there. But I thought these were really cool figures. Anything with Todd McFarlane's name on it, I'm immediately get interested. For part 2, I'm going to, say, hey, this is good enough for part 2. I'm going to have to do the narration thing for part 3 coming up because we're still inside, still real loud, a lot of music. But I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope you really saw something that you hadn't seen before, that you love toys as much as I do, the vintage as much as I do. If you did, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe, like, definitely comment, put the bell on for notifications. I really enjoy giving these videos out to you. I hope you really enjoy them. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'm the Reluctant Gringo. And from south of the border, salute.